Let me tell you something that every woman needs to hear before she does something she thinks will protect her heart, but actually ends up costing her so much more. Before you reach for that button, before you hit block, before you convince yourself that removing him from your phone is the same thing as removing him from your heart, I need you to stop just for a moment. Because what I'm about to tell you is going to completely change the way you think about this whole situation. Blocking a man feels powerful in the moment. I understand that. I really do. When you're hurting, when he's ignored your messages for the third day in a row, when he's shown up halfway and disappeared completely, when you've cried more nights than you can even count anymore, blocking him feels like the only thing left that you have control over. It feels like finally doing something. It feels like standing up. It feels like punching back after rounds and rounds of just absorbing the hits. But here's what nobody sits down and tells you honestly. Blocking him doesn't hurt him the way you think it does. In fact, in most cases, it does the exact opposite of what you're hoping for. It lets him off the hook. It removes his guilt. It stops the quiet voice in the back of his mind that whispers your name when he's lying next to someone else at 2 a.m. It gives him permission to move on without ever sitting with what he actually did to you. It closes the chapter for him before he even had to earn that closure. And worst of all, it tells him that you're still emotional about him, that he still has that kind of power over you, that he got to you deep enough that you had to disappear just to survive him. Blocking is not strength. Blocking is pain dressed up in the costume of strength. And tonight, I want to show you what real strength actually looks like. What actually makes a man wake up at 3 a.m. wondering what he threw away. What actually hurts, not in a petty revenge kind of way, not in a game-playing kind of way, but in the deep soul level, I didn't know what I had until it was standing right in front of me, completely unbothered kind of way. This is for every woman who has ever been tempted to block, to delete, to vanish in anger when the pain got too loud. This is for every woman who thought making herself invisible would make the hurt go away. This is for every woman who deserves to understand the real psychology of what happens when you choose presence over panic, dignity over desperation, and peace over pettiness. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share with you doesn't just change how you handle this one situation. It changes how you carry yourself for the rest of your life. The first thing you have to understand, and I mean really understand, not just nod at, is what blocking actually communicates. Not to you, to him. When you block a man, you are sending him a very specific message. And that message is not, I am done with you the way you intended. That message is, you hurt me so badly that I cannot even stand to see your name on my screen. And while that may be completely true, while that pain is 100% valid and real, from a psychological standpoint, from the way a man's mind actually processes that action, it tells him one thing and one thing only. You still care, enormously. Think about it from the simplest angle possible. You don't block people who don't affect you. You don't block the coworker you mildly find annoying. You don't block the friend who canceled plans twice. You don't block people who exist somewhere in the middle of your emotional life. You block the people who have gotten so deep under your skin, so far into your heart, that their very existence in your digital world feels like a threat to your ability to breathe. And he knows this. Maybe not consciously. Maybe he can't articulate it in those exact words if someone asked him. But somewhere in his gut, in that quiet part of a man that he never talks about out loud, he knows. The block tells him the wound is fresh. The block tells him the feelings are still very much alive and burning. The block tells him that you are actively trying to protect yourself from him, and you only protect yourself from things that still hold power over you. Now contrast that with the alternative. Imagine he checks your profile a week after everything fell apart, because he will. They always do, even when they pretend they won't. And instead of finding that he's been blocked, Instead of that little confirmation that he got to you that deeply, he finds something completely different.